Hi there everyone, Helena here, and today I'm going to be joined on this live by Ikisha Shaw, who is the founder of I Sure Love Nails, and that is a home salon business that was set up in 2020. Although Ikisha is an industry veteran now, I guess. She has been in the industry for 14 years to date, but her business has turned it into such a huge success, and I've got to say her branding is on point. You may have seen her featured, I'm going to grab it here, in the November issue of Scratch magazine. Take a look, have a read if you haven't already. But what she's going to be doing today is sharing her industry journey with us and also offering up some top tips for home salon owners and some advice on what makes effective branding. So I'm going to invite her in, and as always, we'll be asking them to Ikisha. Bear with me. There we go. Oh, hello, nice to see you.
Hello, hi. Thanks for having me.
No, absolute pleasure. Great to meet you. And Ikisha, tell us a little bit about your journey so far, because you've dabbled in quite a few areas of nails, haven't you?
Yeah, I have. It's been a long time. It has been a long time. It started, I suppose, officially in 2009, and I trained with the Beauty Academy here in Cambridge. But for 2 years before that, I'd been practicing at home. Like my mum had a kit that she had that she didn't want to use, and I used to go to the shops to get my nails done all the time, but it was never the greatest experience. And you go in and you ask for something, you don't get what you asked for. And I was like, I want to do this on my own. I want to do it to myself, kind of
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
I would spend hours online just looking and looking at nail pictures back when everyone was using Tumblr, if
Wow.
people even use it anymore. Yeah. And that's where I first saw nail art. And I thought, well, that's cool. You go to the shops, you just get an airbrush design.
Yeah.
And that's not what I wanted.
Absolutely. You probably thought, I can do this, I can do better than that.
Yeah, but I didn't want to invest in this big airbrush machine either. But I wanted something a little bit cooler, which is when I came across War Nails. Realized quickly they were in London, which felt like, oh, I can get to them. But I wanted to do it myself, so I just would follow them and follow their journey all the way through from Tumblr to Instagram.
Yeah, because I think a lot of people would credit War Nails for almost consumerizing, that's not a word, but
Yeah,
nail art to the masses, because
yeah.
I remember when it popped up in Topshop, it was the first nail art concession that kind of
Mhm.
made it into the mainstream, really. It was in Topshop on Oxford
Yeah,
Circus,
I
and
remember.
then it just grew from there, didn't it? I remember going from Manny there, and people could pop in, get nail art in their lunchtime, and then I think with Sharmadene's business ethos, it just grew and grew, and every nail art just became so much more accessible,
Yeah,
didn't
it
it?
really did. It really did. That's where when I first started working with them, that's where I was based in the Top Shop. So it was huge, and that shop was huge,
Mm.
like huge. You go in there, you almost get lost if you don't know where you're going. But I remember applying for the job a couple of times and thinking, okay, they haven't gotten back to me, so I need to practice more.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think she released a couple of books that was like
Yeah.
how-to books. I bought all of them, of course, practiced, and everything was in nail polish back then.
Yeah,
Nothing, there was gel polish, I don't think was
it
even a
didn't
thing.
exist. No, it
No.
was it was the very early days. Yeah.
Yeah, very early days. So sometimes when like I'm telling people my journey here, I'm like, I've been going longer than gel polish at this point, which feels like forever because now it's here. It doesn't feel like it wasn't ever here. It feels like we've always had gel polish to work with.
Yeah.
But doing nail art, it really, really interested me, and I would just get really creative with it, try new things with all the big brushes that you get with the nail polish bottle. We didn't have the tools that we have today.
No, exactly. We've just had someone commenting say that they had their nails done for the first time by you in 2009. So there we go. It's
Oh
been
yeah,
quite
there
a
you go.
journey.
Yeah, that's a long time ago. I mean, there's a lot of people that I would just practice on. I'd be like, come over. I just you don't have to pay. Let me just do whatever I want to do on your hands just to get that practice in.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
worked with them once I started at WAR. I worked with them for quite a few years,
Mm-hmm.
and they used to do some really cool stuff. Like there was lots of brand collaborations at that time. Like other larger brands that had nothing to do with nails would want us to do stuff for them. That was really fun. Like, I really enjoyed doing those kind of things. But it always made me think Cambridge is really missing out.
Yeah.
Like, we don't have anything like that around here. You only had your, what I call your generic nail bars that you pop into town, you think, I want my nails done, you just head in there.
Yeah.
And I kind of thought, well, if this can be done here, it can definitely be done in Cambridge. It was just figuring out how. And who would people really be interested in that in Cambridge?
But I think you've worked with some big name brands through your role at WAR. Did that help you understand the industry from kind of a wider perspective and what different people were looking for, and how did it sort of support you?
I think it showed me that there was clients everywhere and different kind of clients everywhere, like, and people had very different styles. So you could tell, like, depending on the person and what they did, depending on what they wanted. It was really insightful. Really insightful. Yeah.
Amazing. And that led you to bring us now to kind of 2020, and you opened your home salon. What kind of led up to that? Tell us the story.
I think there was definitely a moment where I sort of took a step back. I'd taken like a break. I'd finished working in London, and then there was this sort of gap in my career where I wasn't really doing much, just a few clients here and there at home. But then lockdown came, the pandemic hit, and it just, everywhere I looked, people were closing, but also coming up with new ways to do nails. I remember very clearly in the middle of that first lockdown thinking, okay, well, beauty's closed, so this is not going to happen. I don't think anybody knew whether it was going to, like, what was going to happen, whether we were going to be able to open things properly, or it was kind of just going to be closed for good, because we didn't really know how long the pandemic was going to last, how long lockdowns were going to last. And I remember distinctly making a video on my Instagram of being like, oh, sorry guys, I'm hanging up my brush, I'm not doing this anymore. And then had all this free time to scroll online and look at what was happening. I thought, absolutely not, I'm not hanging up my brush. I love this too much. So in that interim between the two lockdowns, I just thought, well, I'm just going to give it a go. I'm just going to open a Fresher account, because we used Fresher at WAR, which I think was called something else back then, but we knew the platform. So I was like, I'm just going to open the calendar, put some Instagram posts out and see what happens. And then the clients just started to roll in slowly but surely, which quite surprised me, because I didn't think as many people were going to be interested. But I think that break everybody had from going to get your nails done, everyone really wanted to come back and get their nails done. So
absolutely, I missed it so much. And you just can't do the same when you're not trained, and you can't get the same.
That was the thing for me, because I was already trained and I've always done my own nails. I didn't feel like I was really missing out, because I would just then had all this free time to do my nails one day, take it off the next, do it again the next day. But everybody else didn't have that opportunity. People were trying to teach themselves, it wasn't working. So clients just started to roll in. Instagram was huge for me at the time, because I would just do nails, post nails, and that would just interest people and bring people in, because everybody was online, because nobody had anything to do. So I would Instagram was probably where I got most of my clients from in the beginning.
Absolutely. And you, in terms of the actual setup of your home nail salon, obviously it's a challenging time when you chose to set it up. But
it was a real risk.
It was a risk.
It was a huge risk.
But it's really paid off for you. And a lot of people have really struggled and are still trying to kind of get that clientele back into the salon. And there is an argument that it can be a little bit more difficult working from home, because you are out on your own and you're having to do that increased promo. But how have you found it, and how have you kind of battled against that and sort of marketed yourself, really?
I think heavy on the content in the beginning, making sure that there was at least a post a day, a post, a reel, and just making sure I was really visible. And then just endless sleepless nights of looking online at how I could make myself more visible. So it was like, okay, well, I've registered the business now, clients are coming in, I think I need a website. So then it was spending nights sitting there, like building this website, making sure that I had content for the website. one of the things that I do is I make sure that I don't use any stock images, because when you don't have photos or you don't have any content, a lot of people just go straight to stock file folders and just insert images of hands and nails. But I wanted to make sure that everything on there was mine.
Yeah.
So like, I had set like Google up, but I hadn't really done much with it at the time. It was just more so, okay, everyone's inquiring on Instagram, let me just stick to where it's working.
Yeah.
I mean, the initial setup, all that was in here was white walls, a white table, and a cabinet, and that's all I needed, and just my tools to the side.
Yeah.
I just worked with what I had. Going forward, the more that was increasing, I felt like I needed to keep making it better each time. So if something wasn't working, right, okay, that's not working, let's stop doing that, let's try this, and just trying to make the customers feel as comfortable as possible every time they came in here, because it's nerve-wracking. You know, you search me up and you look and you think, well, that's a house. Can't possibly be in the right place. Like, people pull up outside and phone me and they're like, am I in the right place? Yes, you're absolutely in the right place.
But there is something so comforting about the home salon experience now. We've seen such a boom and a growth in it since COVID. But it is that thing about how to do it successfully and how to put yourself out there. So that's some great advice about social media and finding what works, because a lot of people watching this, they do work independently, and there is only so much you can do to stretch yourself. And we know with social media now that we've got to be on it all day, every day, and we've got to engage and we've got to do this. But if you just find a way to stick, it's difficult, isn't it?
Yeah, I think outside of social media, though, I think it's about thinking about it as a client, and what if I was going to somebody's house to have a treatment. What would I want to feel like when I walked in that house? That was huge for me, because I get beauty treatments done, and sometimes I go to a salon, or sometimes I'll go to somebody who is more independent. And it's just thinking about what I like when I walk into that room. And, you know, I'm at home, like, I have children, so there had to be some really strict boundaries. Like, when there's a client in the house, the client needs to feel like the focus is on them, and I'm not like, oh, just hold on a minute, I have to go and do this, and like stop starting. So the focus was solely on making sure the client felt as comfortable as possible.
Definitely. And you've just lovely quotes in your feature in the November issue about how you want your clients to feel. But describe it from your perspective. When they walk in, what do you want them to feel like? How do you want the experience to be for them?
I want them to feel at ease straight away. Like, so, you know, when I open the door, like, I greet them by name. I make sure that I'm checking who's coming next, so that they feel like, okay, oh, she knows me already. So they come in, and for me, where my studio is set in my house, it's the first room in the house. So they don't have to walk through anything. They come in straight into the room, and I immediately shut the door. And so the first thing they see is my logo when they walk in the room, just like in the photo. That's the view from the door that they walk in. So they see that, they see the coffee machine, they see the table, they see an iPad. They're just like, okay, this is not what I expected, but this is lovely. But I just want them to feel like they are really in the salon as well, so that they feel like they've come to somewhere they can trust.
Absolutely. And you just mentioned your logo there, and that's quite a big thing about what I want to talk about, because this is a real point of difference for you, I think, as a brand. So you've spent a long time on your logo, and there's some hidden meanings behind it. And so just to describe it for those that maybe haven't seen it on your profile yet, or that need to follow you after the live, it's a heart with a diamond at the top. But explain your logo to us and the meaning behind it.
So, I mean, the name of the brand is I Sure Love Nails, and that's just sort of, it's a play on words. It's my name. So, you know, my name is Ikisha Shaw, so it just so happens that it works perfectly. But before the word love was there, there it is. Before
the word, but we get there.
But we get it. We can read it that way. Before the word love was there, was just a love heart. But love hearts are love hearts, and they can be quite generic, and it's then picking the right one. But I wanted something that was different. Like, I didn't want it to just be the generic love heart. So when thinking about changing that, I wanted to make sure that it stood out and it had some meaning behind it. Our tagline for the brand is the royal treatment. So when customers come in and they sit down and they have this experience, I want them to feel like royalty. So the diamond in the top of the heart that's what that represents. And although it's a heart, it is also, if you think about the way the letter S is shaped, it's that, but like almost flipped backwards on itself. So
it's very
so it
clever
just kind of
branding.
works.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
it really, really works. And like coming up with that, like we reached out to, like once Rashad had joined the business, we reached out to Hadil Samad, who's a brand strategist and designer, and we spoke to her for hours about what we wanted, and what we wanted the customer to feel, and about like the brand goals and where we wanted to take it going forward. And she went away and she came up with this fantastic logo, and as soon as I saw it I was like, yeah, you have it. Like that is exactly what we're looking for.
And for you, it's not just a business logo that's on your walls and is your logo on your social media feed and on your website. You've taken it one step further, which I found really interesting. Will you tell us a little bit about how it's made its way into your nails?
A little bit.
There we go. Love that plug.
Yeah, absolutely. It just, when I saw it, I just, it was obviously, it's beautiful, but I thought we can do more with that.
Yeah,
like that stands out on its own. So if you take the wording away and just have that on its own, it's a great, it can transition really well into nail art. And because nail art is so creative and you can do so much with it, it can be used in so many different ways on a nail. It's not just that as well. We have like a pattern as well, which also works. So it was, I suppose, incorporating that into nails and nail art, like on a broader spectrum, but also for when you go out and you've got your nails done and someone sees them and they're like, oh, they're really lovely, where did you get those done? It's almost like a signifier, so that when you see that, you know where you've had your nails done. Like people will know, okay, that's the I Sure Love Nails logo. Oh, she's part of that community, part of that, you know, that group of people that go there. That was sort of the thought behind it.
And it's such a clever way to do it, because it's such a wearable logo. It's not too out there and
no, but it's subtle enough.
It is subtle enough, but it's great for word of mouth. It gets people talking, and it's such a clever promotional tool. And I think that's what really fascinated me when you were sharing your story with us, to kind of hear about that and learn about that. It was a really cool idea to add.
Yeah. I mean, you know, like there's lots of logos out there, lots of business names and stuff, and I couldn't imagine trying to fit I Sure Love Nails.
Yeah.
All of that wording on a nail. That it would have been too much.
Yeah.
It would have been too much. But this is perfect for that.
It looks great. And what do your in terms of your clients, so have you retained clients from before you opened your home salon, or have you got a mixture of new and existing?
I would say a mixture. A mixture of old and new. There's constantly new people coming through as the brand grows and people are recognizing it more. There's so many channels for people to find out about it. Like somebody will come and then they'll go back to work or go back to their friends and tell their friends. We're really visible on Google. We've got the website. We've got the social media platforms. So that's constantly bringing new people in all the time. But the clientele has changed over the years. And I think that came with the rebranding as well, because people are out there looking. You go to do your beauty treatments because you want a luxury experience. You want to go and you want to feel pampered, and I think that brings in a whole different type of person to the salon.
Absolutely. And I just want to quiz you about working in your home salon. Like a lot of people, I know I've spoken to some techs before, and they can find it quite lonely, being a self-employed worker. What advice would you give to support that, or make sure that doesn't really happen? What can they do?
I think time management is important. Making sure that you're making time for your social life as well. Like, don't sit behind the desk all the time. Like it is, like for me, like it's a passion of mine. So even when I'm not working, I'm here at this table doing something. Because it's not just customers come in, they say it's very therapeutic for them, but it's really therapeutic for me as well. So, but I think time is important, like really important to combat that loneliness.
Absolutely.
For sure. I mean, I sometimes feel like I don't ever get lonely because I have so many clients that they almost feel like they're my friends. So we have chats about anything, like, and you don't realize how much can happen in 2 weeks with people, or 3 weeks, depending on how often people come back. So it's nice to touch base with people. So it's hit and miss. Time management, and also really like talk to your clients and engage with them so that you're sort of part of their life as much as they're a part of yours.
Definitely. And I think that community feel that you said is so important. And that extends, you know, amongst nail professionals as well. I think one of the huge benefits of social media is that kind of community that it builds amongst the nail pro, I guess.
Absolutely. Like working in London, you feel very much a part of the nail tech community. Like working at WAR, really, we had a team that was our own little community. But like I remember being a freelancer, working for WAR, and then stepping away slightly and only doing events. There was there's a really cool page on Facebook that I think it's like London Nail Tech or something like that, and people post freelance jobs on there. So it's kind of like first come, first serve. If you're interested, you'll say, yeah, I'm available. So you feel like you're part of something. Coming back to Cambridge, I didn't really feel that at first. But working here and then following other local nail techs, like I talk to them, like I message them, I reach out to them. Like I remember there was, I think it was Christmas 21, I wasn't able to work, and I had all these clients booked in, and there was a girl that was, a woman that was local, and I reached out to her and was like, hey, do you think you could help me out? Like I've got these people and they really need their nails done. Like, would you be happy to take some of them on? She was able to take a few, but not everybody. And then we built a relationship that way. To this day, we've never met in person, but because we're both busy, but you start building relationships with other local people to feel part of that community.
And that's an amazing thing that you're doing to kind of support that and instigate that. And we've had a question from someone else who I know is supporting a community, and their community is marginalised nail technicians. It was from In Your Hands project, which we have featured a few times before in Scratch. They have asked, do you think that the industry is inclusive enough? And my question to you is, do you think the industry could do more to be more inclusive?
Yes, I don't know. I mean, it's trying, I think. I think that there was a really big push for this during lockdown to be really inclusive of everybody. I think that the industry could do more to showcase everybody at times, but I think it's trying. I think it's really, really trying. And I think it's important for people to step forward and show themselves as well. It's very easy to get busy and sort of just hide behind social media, but keep working hard and keep putting your work out there. And I think that eventually, I think everything is pushing towards that.
Yeah, definitely. I think a lot of people in general can be a little bit too humble to shout about themselves and shout about their success. And what I really admired about you and your business partner is that you were putting yourself forward. Like you are showcasing, look at what I've done and what I've achieved, and the really cool USPs of my business. I want to showcase them. And I do think the beauty of this industry is that there is enough room for everyone. So just because you're shouting about what you do, it doesn't mean someone's going to take it from you.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, I went during that period between the two lockdowns, that's when I noticed the gel bottle. And you know, when you step away from the industry for it's just even a month, you come back and you're like, what's this product? Where did this come from? And going to do the training with them, that was one of the things that stood out about the training. We were all in a room like talking. And I think I was worried that introducing a new product that people wouldn't want it. Like BAB was still relatively new. Social media hadn't gotten hold of it properly yet to promote it. And I was like, all my ladies like acrylic. They're not going to want this. Like they don't want to take their long nails off. And I said, and you know, there are other people in the city that are doing the same product. What if people don't come to me? And the first thing she said was, there is room for everybody. Like there are so many people in just this country or just in your city. There's clients for everybody. Even if the next nail tech lives next door, there's still enough people.
Absolutely, and everyone has their own USP, and it's about finding that and promoting that. I mean, the person next door might be great at doing a perfect polished manicure, but you might be great at crazy nail art. And
Yeah, exactly,
it's,
exactly that. And
it's
it's a nail art isn't for everybody. So depending on what it is you're doing, it might be just natural nail care and that's it.
yeah.
And there will be people that just want to do their natural nails. There'll be some people that want really long nails. And it just, yeah, you're right, it just depends.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, you've made such a lovely success of your business that I know you're busy, but you still manage to handle it around your family life. Like
Yeah.
a lot of people struggle with a work life
Yeah.
balance. What are you strict with? What do you make sure that you do?
I mean, the kids probably think I'm extremely strict, but when I'm working, nobody comes through that door. But also just making sure that you are thinking about that, even if it's like beginning of the week and you're like, okay, this is what I've got to do this week. Make sure everybody has what they need. It depends on the ages as well, and depends on what your family setup is. But yeah, work-life balance is difficult. It is very difficult. Like, as I'm even talking about it, I'm just thinking about all the things that I had to sort of change and implement, and just making sure everybody's where they need to be, and that gives me the time to do what I need to do. And like mentioning before, like it's about the client. So they're coming into my family home, but I don't want them to feel like they're coming into my family home. I do want them to feel like they're coming to get the service, and they're paying for this. So I don't want them
royal treatment.
the royal treatment. I don't want them to have to stand and talk to my 5-year-old, for example. They might like it. Some people are like, don't worry about it. But I'm like, that's not what you're paying for.
I'm getting pictures now of during COVID when all the kids kept running into those very professional interviews on TV.
Exactly. And to be
place.
fair, like that is something that really stood out to me, watching those extremely funny like memes on TikTok. But I was thinking that can't happen here. That's not going to happen. So, but I also wanted the family to feel like the business wasn't taking away from their life in the home too, which is why it's important for me to have it in a completely separate room. Like when I first started, I was just in the living room on a table in the corner. So you might have one of the kids just watching, I don't know, CBBS or something, and you'd be getting your nails done. But a very different clientele back then. It was very much family and friends. It was very comfortable. Things would take me hours at that time. Now I'm a lot quicker at my services, and it was important that they felt comfortable with people coming in and out of their home too. But I think we've got it under control.
Yeah, and the pictures that you've sent us and that we featured in the mag of your salon, it's absolutely beautiful. I mean, if you hadn't have said that it was a home salon space, I would have thought that this was a bricks and mortar high street style salon, because it's so well decorated. What was really important to you when you had the vision for this home salon?
That if we're going to be offering the royal treatment, that the pieces really stood out. Each piece in here was really thought about, and that everything didn't just look very standard, like, okay, let's buy all the furniture from one place, for example. So it all just looks very generic and very the same. And that's not to say that other people's places look like that. It's just, I wanted it to feel different. Looking for furniture, I realized that everything was all very light and bright. And that's really nice, but I think having the dark pieces in here with offsetting the chairs with the cabinet, the color of the walls, the logo being black, like it feels to me just a little bit more luxurious.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And professional as well. Like the table that I have is an REM table. I wanted to make sure that I was also taking care of myself, because the dust is crazy. It gets all in your face, all in your nose, and also for the client as well. So making sure that there was ventilation in the table was really important. And getting those shots, those pictures of the nails. Like one of the things I'm really proud of is that I don't edit. So the picture that I take is the picture that lands online. So I'm not airbrushing anything. I'm not going to put out a picture that somebody then comes to me and says, oh, I want that color. And I'm like, oh, there's about 10 filters on that.
Yeah.
I don't actually have that color. Or, they might not want to take a picture of their hands because they're like, oh no, my hands don't look very nice. So like what you see is what you get when you look at the pictures. So investing in a professional camera, thinking about lighting as well, just to really make those pictures, the hands pop, not just the picture.
And it's setting those realistic expectations. And I think everyone knows now if something's got a filter on it. I mean,
Yeah.
we've all been on social media enough to identify that pretty much straight away. So
Yeah.
having that realness there, like on my other Instagram account, I post pictures of my nails, which I love all the time. But my fingers, I look at them like, oh gosh, my fingers. I'm no hand model, but you know what? We're focused on the nails, the lighting's right, the nail tech's taken a great picture, and it's
Yeah.
good for their business and good for promotion.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
nice.
And just being authentic, I think that was really important. Like,
Yeah.
we wanted to make sure that we were bold as
Mm-hmm.
well, authentic, and there has to be that realness there to it. Like, I don't want, like I said, someone to come and be like, oh, I want this, and it's like, that's not real.
Yeah.
And I get a lot of people who come to me and never had their nails done before ever.
Wow.
So, you know, they come in and they're like, I've never been for a manicure. And I'm like never, like literally, like never in your life. And they're like, no, never. So then it's really important that they know exactly what they're getting.
Yeah.
So I talk them through process from beginning to end. Like, right now I'm going to use this type of file. I show them the grits of the file. You pull out your e-file and they're a bit like, oh my God, that's a drill. Like, I don't want that anywhere near me. And I was like that, like going to other nail salons and having them use an e-file on me and use it not properly. I was like, I'm never buying one of those.
Yeah.
I don't ever want to use one. And then I did some training and I was like, oh, these are great.
Yeah, speed things up.
Once upon a time, I would, you know, do all of this nail art and then file it all off by hand, adding like 20, 30 minutes to each appointment because I've got to get through all of this layers and layers and layers of gel color that I've now put on. I've got to get off with a hand file. So it definitely has sped things up, but knowing how to use it safely means I can tell them, look, it's safe. This is how I'm going to use it. It's not going to hurt you. And encourage them to give me feedback if something does hurt. So,
and I do think it's so important to be honest and to walk clients through as well. And strangely enough, we're actually doing an article in an upcoming issue of the magazine about why it's so important to be clear with your clients, because they use these buzzwords like shellac or BAB, and they don't really understand what that terminology means, that they're referring to an actual product, a brand, rather than just an overlay or something. And, you know, for the nail professional, it's good as well to sort of really spell out what the treatment involves, which I know that you do on your website and on your social media, because they don't know what they're booking in for, and they don't want to turn up expecting one thing and you're like, well, you've only booked in for this. And you know, it's very important to be clear.
Very important. So, and that's what's so important about the website, is that there is a services section, and in each service it really breaks down what you're having. So you've got like the full service list, which just gives you like a short piece about it, but then there's specific pages for BAB, for gel extensions, for gel polish, and then at the bottom of that page is all of, well, we think hopefully all of the frequently asked questions that you might think of before you book that service. So then you've got a really clear understanding of what you're having before you come. But even so, some people don't read it. And so when they come, I still break it. Even if they have read it or they haven't, I still break it down for them each step of the way.
Brilliant.
But you're right.
And
it's buzzwords like shellac. Like, I think that no one can get the word shellac out of their head. And I'm like, so shellac is just a brand. This is also shellac, but it's called the gel bottom.
It's like similar methods, but different kind of product. But
absolutely.
And just we've had some lovely comments on how beautiful your salon is. So I think a few of your clients may be watching and your fans.
So I pushed them down so they're not distracting me, so I can't actually see what anybody said.
We've had some lovely comments, but just to kind of obviously for the fellow nail pros that are watching and those that own a home salon or are thinking of owning a home salon, have you got any top tips about what to do or what not to do, or anything that you've learned or found a little bit challenging when you were opening up? Have you got any advice?
I think keep practicing. Like, never stop learning. That's important. I think that's really important. I think that it can be really nerve-wracking and really daunting because, one, it's your home. Two, it's like, I know that I sometimes felt like, am I good enough? So I think that always putting in that time to really practice your craft craft. Like, make sure that you're on top of it. Make sure that if there's a new course out there or a new product, go and do the training for it so that you know exactly what you're doing. Invest in what your space looks like, and think about the client first. Like, think about yourself, make sure that you're comfortable. Like, I have a lovely ergonomic stool here that I sit on for my back, because I think every nail tech out there probably suffers with a bad back because of the way we sit. You get comfortable, you slouch. Invest in making sure that you're comfortable, but definitely think about it from a client first perspective and what you want the client to feel like, because they're going to go and tell their friend, who's going to tell a friend, who's going to tell a friend, and then that's how you're going to grow.
Yeah, amazing, perfect advice. And now, just to wrap up, you've got this very, very successful business. You seem very happy. The salon stunning. What does the future hold? What are your sort of goals, or what are you content with?
I think we're really big on experience here. So I think it's just transferring that, hopefully, into a bigger space at some point, and continuing to create great experience for the customers. So maybe like some events, maybe Cambridge is really lacking in that area. So just expanding and just making sure that the clients continue to feel like they're getting the royal treatment.
Perfect. Well, what a fantastic way to end. Thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, no,
Ikisha.
thank you for having me, honestly. This has been something that's, I think I've been dreaming about for like at least 10 years.
That's so lovely hearing. We've been in the industry, I was looking at the dates, for exactly the same amount of time. So it's lovely to have sort of seen now, looking back on how your journey has progressed, and where you are now from where you started at Nails, which was one of my first salon visits. So
that's crazy.
So it's really nice
I
to see
remember 11 years ago, I was working in a smaller salon in Cambridge, and the guy that I was working with, he showed me Scratch Magazine for the first time, and I was like, this is so cool. I was like, I didn't even know this existed. Like, and then from there, I've been following you guys as well. So I was like, I'll be in there one day.
Yes, absolutely. Well, we're really looking forward to continuing to see your journey and your lovely nail creations, and be inspired by your story. So thank you again. And
thank you.
We will catch up with you soon.
Yes. All right. Lovely. Bye-bye.
Bye.